Update 1. I'm not sure what writing this down will do for me. Maybe talking it out with a stranger could help clear my mind, but I don't think our marriage can be saved at this point. My wife and I have been together for almost 9 years now, married for 2. Overall, our relationship has been fulfilling and satisfying for both of us. It might sound like I'm bragging, but being together has genuinely made us better people. I'm a bit old-fashioned, so finding a woman who shares my interests and opinions was challenging. The only troublesome part of our relationship has been my relationship with my father-in-law. While my wife and I rarely argue, most of our major fights have been because of him. I want to make it clear that I don't dislike him. I have a lot of respect for him. He's made many sacrifices in his personal life to support his family and ensure my wife had a loving upbringing. In the early years of our relationship, I admired him. He and my mother-in-law would host family gatherings twice a week, and when I first started dating their daughter, I was amazed by how close-knit they were as a family. I enjoyed those family events with their cozy dinners, occasional disagreements, and overall happiness, seeing how close my wife was to her siblings and parents. In the early days of our relationship, I think I surprised my wife with how much I enjoyed spending time at her parents' house. Her mother was incredibly kind to me right from the start. She always made sure I felt included in family activities and even saved a seat for me at the dinner table next to her, chatting with me like I was part of the family. I remember one time I was leaving their place late at night to go back to the city for work, and it was snowing. She came down from her room with one of her husband's overcoats, saying I should take it with me just in case. But I knew it was because she knew my car didn't have good heating, especially in the cold weather. She didn't want me to feel uncomfortable just because I didn't make as much money as my wife. These little gestures of care made me really appreciate her. Anyway, I mentioned my mother-in-law because I believe she was the reason her husband initially accepted me. Sadly, she passed away 4 years ago, and it seemed to change him. It's like his kindness meter broke or something. He started acting like he had a problem with me all the time. Like one time, my wife and I decided to cook dinner for him while he was out for his evening walk. We prepared a nice meal, but when we sat down to eat, he only thanked my wife, ignoring my contribution. At that time, my wife and I started talking about getting married, and it just felt like the right thing to do. I don't think I've ever been more certain about anything than marrying her. There was a brief moment before we got engaged when we had a fight, but thankfully, things worked out well. We got engaged in May, and it was the start of something wonderful. My wife is the youngest in her family, so she received a lot of love and support from her siblings. They even saved her mother's wedding accessories for her, which was such a thoughtful gesture. Over the following months, our wedding became a big and joyful event for our family.